Greetings and salutations, Flames of War enthusiasts. Solo guy here. It's been a while since I've uploaded an actual battle report. I did this one around December, but life got on the way, and I'm not uploading every little detail of this report, but catch the highlights. I also want to point out I'm trying a new thing here, whereas I'm doing pictures to tell the story, maps, as far as how the battle was progressing, and I'm doing this on ScreenPal as well. Something different for me to try. So comment, and of course, naturally subscribe. That'd be awesome. Um, let's get to it. So this is a Flames of War after action report. Specifically, I'm recreating a fight that took place between the Russian Red Banner Rifle Regiment versus Panzer Division Muncheberg. Panzer Division Muncheberg was one of the last fighting German fighting units that were there on the way to Berlin. So with that, let's go and deal with how that looks. So it's a German, we have a Panzer Grenadier Company and a Panzer Company of Panzer Division Muncheberg versus the Russian Red Banner Rifle Battalion. So looking at the end of turn one, you can see that we have the objectives here. We also have the fighting withdrawals. So depending on how many German units there are on the table, starting around turn five, depending how many units they have, they may have to start pulling off units with this. Now there are three Panthers that are in ambush. We have our commander over here of our Panzers. We have our Panzer Grenadier commander at the train station here. And here you'll notice we've got 120 millimeter mortars, 122 millimeter artillery. We have some Joseph Stalins here with riflemen. And here we have an assault gun. We have some ISU-122s, and this is a pair of ISU-152s. I actually say three of them with a T-34-85 in command. And you can see roughly this is where we started at the game. The Russians were starting to move out at the end of turn one. When we look at turn two, we can see that the Russians are desperately crossing the river and they're trying to push forward. If you look at the German left flank here, it's not particularly well defended. But again, we also have MG nests. Here we have four of them, I believe. I've got one, two, three. Yeah, no, we've got three of them. Okay, it's been a while. So I got some newer terrain. I've got some roads. I've got the brick buildings. I also got one of my own buildings as well. So trying to make it more like an urban setting. I do have the train station, and the Russians do have the Germans have some minefields as well. So as you can see here that the Russians are progressing nicely. There's really no Germans out there to resist them. However, if you look at the bottom corner here, you'll notice, hey, that looks like the back end of the Panther. And you'd be right, simply because they were set up in ambush. But we also have a pair of Tigers, one here and then one behind the water tower. Yeah, not a good day. Again, another view of the Russians crossing the river with our famous commissar, and we've got a flamethrower attached to this unit as well. So by the time we look at turn four, you can see that we've had infantry crossing the river. They're about to take that building. We have three Panthers here that came out in ambush, and they took out a few Russian tanks. There's not been a lot of progress with the ISUs. It's been difficult to cross. The infantry here are slowly making their way. And you have a close-up of the Panthers when they surprised the ISU-122s. And yeah, that wasn't pretty for them. Eventually, the Panthers would be withdrawn. And in the meantime, we got a destroyed MG pillbox. We have got an JS2 that's finally made it across the river to the other side. And you can see these Panzer Grenadiers here. They were dug in, but things changed for them rather radically. And you can see more Panzers coming through, more Russian tanks coming through here. And one ISU was taken out. And you can see the turret off to the side there. And we have another shot of that. So this is pushing a little bit forward on a later turn. So you can see where now we're starting to, the Russians are now taking the building. You can see here, the Russians are going around the corner. They're absolutely threatening the flank here. These JS2s are struggling to cross the river, and they're failing their cross checks like nobody's business. There are no ISU 122s left. They are gone. The ISU 152s is part of the assault gun. They are pounding away on the Panzer Grenadier positions here as well. And you can see with that flanking maneuver, there's the Panzer Company commander there to lend support. It's not looking good for the Germans on that one. And looking further on, we can see that the Russians are closing in. They've got the objective. They've taken out this stand here, and I just flipped it over just for the sake of argument. So looking at the end here, this is just before the Russians took that objective. Here you can see that the Russians were closing in on a vice grip, if you will, with the infantry. The 152s were sitting back and kept firing. And the mortars and the artillery have been pretty faithful in pounding the German positions. But with the Germans withdrawing, that was inevitable, what was going to happen. I would like to say that the Panthers that were in that forest, they made things very difficult for the Russians by that time. So looking at it at the end, it was a Russian victory, but very costly for the Russians. Some of the elements of Panzer Division Muncheberg successfully withdrew, but the units that stayed behind were pretty much destroyed. Well, that's it, guys. That's it for this. I hope you got to enjoy it, and I might try with a longer, with some more detail in the next after action report. Hey, hope you guys enjoyed this. You take care. God bless you. Solo Guy out.